You are listening to I Hate Average podcast featuring Jay from the Bronx.
Alright, I'm back. Back at it like well, I don't want to say crack at it because this is a positive show. Back at it again. I Hate Average podcast. This is fun. It's getting even better. Last week was great, phenomenal. We had Miss Yasmin Teresa Garcia. Great energy, great information. I think people looking out for that app, the IBOP app. I don't want to butcher the name, but I believe it's IBOP. Let me spell it out for you. IBIOP. That app is for women who are. It's for women's health, but more so for women who are pregnant and they're looking for information on doulas and midwives. And of course, check out, if you didn't hear it and you want to know what are they talking about, doulas and midwives, you got to hear last week's episode with Yasmin Teresa Garcia. This is episode 16. I'm so excited, man. What, 16? That means I've been doing this, 4 weeks? Wow. Not 4 weeks, 4 months. 4 months. I just took the chance to say, let me do this podcast. Let me talk to different people. Let me bring different perspectives to these airwaves, to your ear holes. And I've been doing it. And it's just been taking me on a ride. It's been a little different. Been speaking to people who I normally wouldn't speak with regarding things that I normally wouldn't talk about. So it's been fun. And today is no different. Miss Dawn Day, she's very inspiring. This is actually something I think was important at this kind of, I guess, milestone. It's the first quarter of the first year of this podcast, of this show. So I think it was important to have someone just keep motivating me as much as the listeners, motivating and coaching us to, follow our dreams. And, anything is possible if you have the passion and the will and the drive to do it. Just hearing her story about how she literally picked up and moved from the east to the west coast to follow her passion, her dreams, and create opportunities for herself. And I think it's powerful and something that people need to hear, because as she states inside the interview, you only have one life, and there's nothing really stopping you from your fears and your fears, which is basically just creating in your mind of what can go wrong. So very, very interesting interview. Great energy, great passion, and check it out. Dawn Day. All right, everyone. I have here with me Miss Dawn Day. She's known as a motivational speaker, life coach, among a radio host, among other things. Am I missing anything?
Voiceover talent. I'm a voiceover artist as well.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
So, what got you started with motivational speaking and trying to inspire people?
It all started when I was in high school. I went to an all-girls Catholic school, and we had an assembly in the auditorium. And I remember this guy got up there, and he was acting a nut. And the thing that stood out is that he did the moonwalk. And, everybody was so excited, and he was just talking about life and principle, just literally having a conversation on stage. But I noticed his interaction, how everybody left feeling good, and he was just having fun. Then later on, I found out that he was a motivational speaker, and I was like, hold up. Wait a minute, you're telling me that I can get paid to speak? Like, I can get paid to motivate and inspire people and help them make their dreams come true. In my mind, there was nothing better than that.
Definitely. And it's definitely understandable. So I've been researching you, and I've seen some of your videos, and you said one of the main things that hold people back from success or achieving their dreams is fear. Can you elaborate on that, how people are afraid to be great?
Fear is simply put false evidence appearing real. Fear is an illusion. Fear has something where it does is it causes you to be stuck. It doesn't allow you to move. And what you have to realize is that we are living things. So therefore that consults in change, that ensures it's growing. But when you're fearing you're stuck, you don't move, and essentially you become a thing. And you have to realize that when you talk about living your life, things function and people live. And I got this from Eric Thomas, who's also a motivational speaker out of Detroit. But He says that you have to want your dreams. You have to want whatever it is out of life as bad as you want to breathe. And so once you can cap over fear, when you can step into the realm of the possible, which is also exists among the realms of being uncomfortable, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that means you got to look fear in its face and say, you ain't got nothing on me, because you want it as bad as you want to breathe.
Wow. Definitely. Yes. Very inspiring. So when did you realize in your own life that it was time to, just leave fear alone and just go after, your dreams?
I've always been a daredevil in my life, but I feel, though, when I really had to step up to the plate and go after I wanted, it was probably a changing point when my mom passed away. I had to put things in alignment, because I'm from Detroit, and at the time I was living in New York when Mom passed. I was there for her death, but just being away. And that's when it came when, life is real. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. How can you be afraid to be happy? How can you be afraid to be you? So I graduated from Howard University, the real HU. And one of the things that I always said when I graduated, I said either I want to do New York or LA.
Okay.
And it came an opportunity to do LA, and so I'd always said I wanted to run into a 5K. I wanted to start out my Vitamin D, a motivational newsletter. I wanted to make sure that I went out there and speaking, because I think oftentimes when you're stepping against change, when you're stepping against fear, when you say, okay, now it's time to bid on myself, it takes you stepping out on faith. Steve Harvey says a thing that when you jump, and he talks about the parachute, oftentimes we want the parachute to sail us, but you'll never know the parachute can open if you don't jump.
Wow, that's true.
So with me, my jump was my mom passed away, and I said, wait a minute, life is real. So that's when I started getting my ducks in order. That's when I started getting back to self, and I started riding, and I was running and working out. And I was speaking with a friend who was like, Dawn, I feel like if you came out to LA, you could do really well. Why don't you come here and check it out? Being a daredevil and realizing that after I lost my mom, what do I have to lose? But my life. So why don't you go after it? I no longer had the job that I was working for holding me back. So I said, you know what, let's just do it. Now, I didn't say it was going to be easy or that it was easy. But I was like Nike, and I was like, just do it.
That's touching. So what do you see with coaching people and speaking with people, besides fear, what you can say, you see that's the most common denominator that you've been dealing with people not achieving their goals?
A lot of people aren't achieving their goals is because they haven't figured out who they are.
Okay.
They haven't figured out what it is that they love. And oftentimes they aren't willing to bet on themselves.
Yeah.
And so what I always tell people is that you got to be selfish with your life, with your dreams, with your purpose, because not selfish to a default, but selfish in a way you got to keep pouring into yourself so that you overflow, so that you can pour into other people's cups. And when people and why they aren't living their life, because they aren't treating themselves as if they're their greatest asset. I talk about a platform I speak upon that talks about as your life bank account. And that's you treat your life like a checking or a savings account, kind of like maybe you have a personal checking account. What are you depositing? What are you taking out your life? So when it comes to the most common thing as to why people aren't living an authentic life and a true life, because you got to identify what it is that you want. Just like I spoke earlier about the difference between living and functioning. When you go into a 9-to-5 job that you can't stand, or any job for that matter, you are suffocating yourself. You are suffocating your dream. You are suffocating your ambition. You are suffocating your happiness. You have to step in the right and choose to live, but understand that you have to be willing to put in the sweat equity. it isn't going to be easy because that's why everybody else is going to do it. Not everybody is going to believe in you, but if you don't believe in yourself, who will? You can say you want something. You can say you're interested in something, but if you aren't doing it, you don't really want it. And I think that's another key thing is that people are afraid to be real with themselves. Like, I can sit here all day and say, oh, I want to lose weight, but if I keep eating the wrong kind of food, I don't want to lose weight. And so what happens is that I essentially create this friction and this confusion because mentally I keep saying this, but my actions aren't doing it. When you keep it real with yourself and say, okay, if I want to be your CEO, if I want to meet, I don't know, Warren Buffett, how are you placing yourself in position? Are you circulating yourself with the right people? If you aren't, be honest and say, okay, it's an aspiration, but it's not something I want right now.
Definitely. So before you started mentoring and speaking, did you seek after life coaches for yourself, or were you just something that you just gravitated to and studied yourself?
Absolutely. So when I started speaking even back when I was in New York, and there are a few radio personalities that served as mentors. To give a shout-out to Deja Vu, she's on WBLS in New York. We worked together. And so I actually, which high school was that? It was in Jersey. I don't know, it was in Fremont. That was the first time I had opportunity to speak at a high school because that was her aspirations. And one thing I know that I can do is I can speak. So she was like, Dawn, let's do this together. So I went there and I spoke with the young girls. So I feel that what helped me propel myself to mentor and to speak to other people was that I had to let people know what it is that I was doing. I had to show up and give notice because half the time while people aren't able to enable us to pursue our dreams, because guess what? You're too afraid to say something. Why is that? So then when I moved out to L.A., I'm about planting seeds. You gotta. I believe in a firm thing. You gotta learn how to speak life. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Be careful with the words. Choose your words wisely. I remember Lisa Nichols was going to be the very first speaker. She's one of the authors of the speaker. She was going to be the very first speaker that I had been in the realm of, because you got Tony Robbins, you got Les Brown, you got Iyanla Vanzant. I hadn't been around them. Okay? So this was a speaker next level, but I had a chance to go into her camp. And when I was in her camp, I was able to understand the mechanisms and realize what I wanted to do in the speaking realm and what I didn't want to do. But I put it out there, and I made sure that I felt all my sources. And always looking for mentors. Another great mentor of mine is C.J. Gross out of D.C. He was actually the first speaker that I'd ever worked with. I saw an ad on Craigslist, and he was looking for an assistant. And so I hit him up, and I became his assistant, and I kind of got my chops wet as far as understanding the realm and what the grind is all about. But it's definitely out there, just letting people know and seeking it out, making sure that I went to conferences, constantly listening to Jim Rohn and Florence Scovel-Shan and a lot of thought leaders, Eckhart Tolle, online and on the web, to constantly infiltrate and to pour those things inside of me.
So you're a strong believer in invested in yourself. You invested in these conferences. Yeah.
Come on. If I don't put it in, who's going to put it in for me?
It's true. Absolutely. So how did you find out about this information for people who are on a path, they want to learn how to reach out for that? How did you find the information?
Don't play with me. Don't play with me. We got computers out nowadays. Even if you didn't know how to spell, if you were just throwing something out there, there's no reason why someone can't do whatever it is that they want to do with the aspiration. Because now you don't even have to know how to type. You can talk it into your phone. So basically what I did is that I just put out the research. I had to do the work. And sometimes I always tell people that life is your greatest teacher, because you're going to take the test before you learn the lesson. Some things are going to be by trial and error. But if you don't go out there and take that jump, allow that parachute to open, if you don't go out there and take a chance, how are you going to know what it is that you can do, who you can reach? Yeah, so you got to start Googling. I mean, I don't know the last time I've been in the library, even though I'm ashamed to say, just because of everything is online. But I grew up in a time where you had to go to the library. Then I found, but that's just keeping it real.
So what is something that, like, what is like a first step? Let's say I went to the conference, I'm motivated. Like, what is something that you feel that when people are, any dream that they have, maybe it's to start a business or to write a book, what is something like after the conference, after you heard you was motivated, what is the next step that you would suggest?
What I would recommend, if anybody's out there, an author, an entrepreneur, future CEO, and you went to a conference, the first thing you have to think about is, what is it that I want? See, you go on the door and you say you want it, but after that, what is it that I want? You probably should have been at that conference with either business cards or networking cards and connected yourself with 5 people. But sometimes we go to these conferences and we aren't talking to everybody. Find the people to talk to, because you never know who has the next thing that you may need.
Definitely.
I also say make the.
Oh no, you can get it. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I was gonna say that's something I kind of struggle with because, I could, speak to a crowd, but actually this weekend I went to like a networking event and it was a smaller crowd, so I kind of was standoffish because I find it a little bit difficult, just approaching people and telling them, this is what I do. It's kind of hard. So do you have any tips for that, or just presenting your dreams to people? Because I kind of, your dreams is kind of internal, but when you got to express it to people, to explain to people, to network, it's kind of, to me, maybe I may be strange, but it seems kind of difficult.
I mean, it's why I feel that oftentimes it's difficult expressing your dreams to others, because you're being vulnerable. And we've gotten to a society where we're afraid to feel, so we try to feel through other mediums. But essentially, you got to get your core. You got to get your group of 10s and 9s, and what I mean by that is that if you're a 6 and you're aspiring to be a 9, you have no business hanging out with 7s or 5s. Get around those people that are doing that. Find your accountability group. That's something that has helped me to this day. That has even helped me get my voiceover agent. I found an accountability group, a group of friends that I know I can bounce ideas off of. I can lay my goals out, and they're going to call me and be accountable. One of the major steps that I found when pursuing my dream, and I'm not sure what the next step of just getting people to take notice, is when I started writing my newsletter, Vitamin D. And so it's essentially where I take the lyrics of popular music and I intertwine it with a motivational message. Plus, you get vitamin D from the sun. So this is my opportunity to shed light into your life. So when I first started out with Vitamin D, I was through an accountability group, and I was so nervous because I didn't know if it was going to be judged. I didn't know anything. So it started out simply as an email body that I only sent to 4 people that are my job. Then I sent it to the office, and then after that it went to the mass mailing list. But this is the thing. When you start to open your mouth and what your dreams is, I don't think you just go out there just broadcasting for no reason. But when you put your dream around good people and you show effort, they're going to want to help you. So that's when I learned about email marketing. This lady was like, Dawn, this newsletter is great, but you can't spam people. She worked in the social media department. So she started telling me, okay, this is what you need to do as far as your email marketing. And so I just found that starting with a small core group of people and bouncing ideas off there, get yourself an accountability group. And that will be sure to get you used to talking about your dreams.
Definitely. I appreciate that tidbit. I appreciate that. So back to the conferences. So you said find 5 people that you're connected with, and what else?
And follow up with an email. Simply figure out, and this is the thing. When we people network, people are always trying to figure out, what can you do for me? Figure out how you can support and help someone else. Once you get from that conference, get your business cards together, allocate them or whatever. Then what I need you to do, I need you to make a vision board. I need for you to see the vision that you have for your life. Your affirmations are serious. Lay out the plan. After that, I need you to create a to-do list and give yourself some SMART goals. Make them specific.
Okay.
Make them measurable. Make them attainable, reachable, and trackable. Give yourself a guideline. And you got to be very specific. So if you know that you want to interview or you possibly want to attend a certain networking event, you need to say, okay, I want to come up with at least 3 upcoming events or follow 5 different people on social media that are doing what it is that I want to do.
Wow.
Then I would say definitely the third thing is taking the action. Half the time, it's not even about us not having the resources. It's about us not taking the steps. After you've taken the steps, and even throughout the process, take time to review your notes and your material.
That's true.
You got to always stay refreshed, because that's why those conferences are important. You hear people say they've attended the same conference over 60 or 70 times before they got it. Make your first few times count. Apply them to your life. Usually when a conference is being held and the speaker, they give you systems to follow. Now, if you went to the conference, whether you paid for a ticket or not, you bought into their system. The least you can do, especially for the hours that you spent, is to exercise the system.
That's true. Absolutely. So basically it's just what you're saying is you just got to put in the work, do the work. It's not enough to just be motivated. You got to actually use the motivation for action.
Right. They say it takes motivation to get started, but it's inspiration that'll transform your life.
That's touching. That's deep. So, have there been times because that you needed to be motivated? Like,
oh my gosh, absolutely. Was it Yolanda that said you had to encourage yourself? Sometimes you got to speak on your own. Like, there have been times, just because of being human. See, when you're a speaker, you're so used to, or even somebody that people may confide into, you serve as an inspiration. You get so used to pouring in other people, which is fine. But like I told you when we first began, is that you got to be selfish and realize to give back to yourself. Because you'll find that you're the one on empty. And because, and what I find also as a speaker, oftentimes people are like, Dawn, you come up with all these answers, or some of the things you come up with, wow. But, excuse me one second.
No problem.
But when you realize your dream is no longer about you, you understand how it ends up supporting you. That's why I said that when you're trying to figure out what it is you want, you got to figure out what it is you like. And I think half the time, even as a speaker, many of the things that I'm speaking on myself. There are times where I need a motivation. I had to put on my vitamin D, my dang old self, and remind myself what I had said. Because I can't be walking around being a hypocrite and not following. Because when you talk about being successful, you got to live an authentic life. That means being true with yourself. So, yeah, I have to go back and read my own material to motivate myself.
That's great. So how do you know how transparent to be when you're speaking and when you're coaching? How do you know how transparent to be to not leave yourself so open for ridicule and things of that nature?
Well, this is the first thing. Whenever you're talking about being a speaker, when you're talking about being in the forefront, you've opened the door to being vulnerable. But you have to make the choice to figure out how transparent you want to be. A lot of things that I feel like you got to trust your gut. Trust your intuition inside. How deep do you want to go? Depending on, some people want to be reality star famous where they give everyone a 360-degree view of their life. Is that what you want? And being okay with whatever it is that you want. And if you're living this authentic life, I can't tell you what you should share and what you shouldn't. You just got to share what is true to you.
Definitely.
And be unapologetic about it. And that's the whole thing when I'm saying, like, finding out who you are, stepping into your braveness. Because oftentimes, it ain't about the money we got. It ain't necessarily about the looks we got. And not even always, Well, the connections are the byproduct of it, but the confidence that you have in whatever it is that you want to do.
Definitely. So can you describe, because once you understood your dream, you understood where you wanted to go in life, and you knew you wanted to speak and motivate and inspire people, can you talk about the feeling after your first time doing it?
It was a rush. The first time that I spoke, it was a rush. Probably my nerves are all in my way. But when I sat back and I looked at it, there's nothing more beautiful when you have somebody that comes up to you and says, thank you for changing my life.
Wow.
Or when you get those messages on Facebook, when you get calls, like I had a friend call me, I hadn't spoken to him in about 10 years, called me and said, hey, can you just pray for me?
Wow.
That's what makes it worthwhile. Because you know you're taking the time to lift up somebody's day. I mean, you never know when you could have saved someone's life.
That's true. But isn't that a burden though? When you're going up there, you don't know what the audience, you don't know what they're going through, so you don't kind of go up there with a burden, or are you just doing your thing?
Well, can you say that one more time? I'm a little confused.
I'm just saying, like you said, you don't know the audience. Some of the audience situations, like you said, someone might be borderline suicide, or someone really might be giving up on their marriage. Somebody might be giving up on life. Do you go up there sometimes with that burden, or are you just focused on what you have to say?
I spoke, there's this area downtown L.A. called Skid Row.
Okay.
And a lot of these women, a lot of the homeless people, it's like a homeless community out there, but I spoke at a shelter entitled Ann Douglas Center for Women.
Okay.
And sometimes you got to check the temperature of your audience. What do I mean by that? You got to figure out what they need. Some people think that speakers just talk, but it's just almost like you speak less, listen more. And you cater around the message based on the feel of the audience. But oftentimes you can come up there with a structural topic or a speech that you do want to discuss.
Yeah. But the audience could shift you in another direction. Yeah.
Right. And that's what it's all. You have to allow your audience to be shifted. This is the thing. See, when we talk about life and people getting frustrated, you know why people get frustrated? Because they won't allow themselves to be fluid. This goes back to the very first question. It's all about being able and allowing yourself to change and evolve and to transform. Why? Because you are a living thing. And when you allow yourself to be fluid, you're allowing yourself to be present in the moment. True. That's when the magic happens. Half the time we aren't pursuing the dream like you asked me before because we're psyching ourselves out about all the stuff that we got to do. All you got to do is focus on right now. Right now is what you have. Right now is the life that you have. You got to do whatever it is that you can do right now.
Wow. I think that's probably like the most major statement that you made tonight is just being present. That's wow. That's major. So what is some projects that you're working on currently that we can look forward to?
Well, I was just in a TV show, a Curvy Stylist Cindy Snell. So the assistant to celebrity stylist Cindy Snell. It's on BET Centric. I believe we might be coming back next year. But we'll find out. So that's just to keep a lookout for that.
Okay.
I actually have an on-air radio show. It's called rmconair.com. You can check it out on TuneIn. And on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And where if you're a 90s baby, I mean, all your jams, from Black, from God, from Shy, from the Campbell. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get, but I know you're going to be dancing, though. So that's
great.
Exciting. I'll keep you guys posted on social media when it comes down to the next speaking engagement, as well as I told you, I'm a voiceover artist and have an agent. So I have various projects that I'm constantly auditioning for.
Wow. Okay.
And you got to check out that website. Absolutely.
Definitely. It's DawnDaySpeaks.com.
DawnDaySpeaks. Okay. And I'm on all social media at Dawn J. Speaks.
Wow, great. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insights and you telling your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good night. There you have it. I told you this was actually a fun episode. This is great. This might be one of the most inspiring episodes. Maybe this one and the 848 web series episode, but this one is kind of was intentionally motivating. Just powerful words, great story. Thank you again, Miss Dawn Day, for your time. I know I was bugging you. I came out the blue. I did a cold, instead of a cold call, I did a cold email to get her. I thought she was important to have on the show, and when she had the time to do it, she did it, and I greatly appreciate it. This was fun, a lot of cool information. You guys check her out on all social media. Check her out on her website, dawndayspeaks.com. Just great information, cool insight, and just follow up with her. Also, my website, averagej.com. We're doing like a little, not an overhaul, but we're just doing a little update to tweaking and changing things up. So the site is down currently, just so I can update it. It should be back up by the end of the week. Of course, I'll let you guys know. And thank you guys for following up with averagej.com and the I Hate Average podcast on Instagram, on Twitter. Thank you guys. Thank you. This is fun. I started this as a passion project, just something I felt that I have a different perspective on things, and I just wanted to share it with people. And I've been doing it, and it's been a lot of fun. Of course, I was afraid. I was thinking, how's it going to work? And I had to figure out how to get it on iTunes and different technicalities and different obstacles. But I just kept being determined. Say, I'm going to do this. This is going to be my thing. So I'm doing it, and it's fun, and the feedback is great. Thank you guys for all of it. Anyway, check out averagej.com next week. Watch the update. It's going to be different kind of content, more content. Going to be more writing, more videos. The podcast is going to be up there. As I told you guys, I'm not going to be putting my podcast on SoundCloud anymore. Of course, you have past episodes up there, but the newer episodes are not going to be on SoundCloud. So you're going to either find them on iTunes or on the website, or I'm going to put them on my Facebook page, I Hate Average Podcast, the Facebook page. Be sure to like that, get information on that. We're going to have exclusive content. I'm also going live from the Facebook page in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be doing that probably maybe 3 days a week, just to talk to you guys and share and get some more perspective. It's a lot going on. Football season just started. There's things going on in the world as far as terrorist attacks and bombings and this crazy presidential election. So just so much things is going on. I think it should be fun if I go live and talk to you guys and you give me your opinions on things. I give mine, and just sharing. I think having people sharing information and sharing perspectives and being open with each other is important, because a lot of times, especially social media, everybody just goes with the popular opinion, and sometimes that is your opinion, but I think just having some context and giving your own reasons or points of view as to why your opinion is important. So I'm going to be doing that more. It's gonna be a lot more sharing. I just think doing this weekly show inspired me to want to do more content, and it's going to be fun. And thank you guys again. This is the 16th episode, so thank you for the last 4 months. We've been doing it. It's been rough, especially getting these guests together, but it's been fun. And thank you guys, and I'll talk to you guys next week.